We had the Sound of Freedom come out last year. The whole media attacked it.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
It did really good in the box office.
Oh, it did as good as Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And whatever the Dial of Destiny, whatever I didn't even bother with it.
That was a waste.
Yeah, it made as much money as that in its opening week, and people, understandably got a little pissed because they don't want people looking too close at the diddler in chief.
Correct.
So this is a little bit of the so-called controversy. Hilarious how this is a conspiracy theory movie that they willfully acknowledge is based on a true story.
But let's set the stage for all the people watching. We've got
Amazing.
Hunter Biden, who left a laptop that had video of him messing around with the allegedly underaged women of the night.
Yep.
Maybe his niece. And then we had
And don't forget about the federal trafficking charges that Hunter Biden could potentially face because he took 3 ex-workers across state lines in 2018. Reportedly, one of them may have been underage.
What a shame.
Seemed kind of like his niece, right?
Yeah, and then you have the journal from one of Biden's daughters explaining absolute atrocities taking place under that roof.
Yeah. You got to love how they basically admitted that was absolutely real by prosecuting the woman who brought it to the press as a thief. But it was abandoned property, just like the laptop. If it's abandoned, you can't steal it.
That's right.
But that's one way to admit that it's real while still pleading with people not to believe that it's real.
I don't know, man.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm sorry.
But this is what's taken place. Did you just let everyone out there know that the United States is the #1 destination for human trafficking?
It is indeed.
This is supposed to be, home of the free and brave.
Yep.
But yet we're allowing this travesty to take place within our borders of this country, and it needs to come to an end.
Yeah. And this state is actually one of the worst offenders because we're on the border with Canada.
But here's the thing.
And 75.
There are few things more brutal than slavery. All right. And it's happening here in this country in various degrees. You can call it whatever you want, but it says something to the entire world. If the United States of America is the #1 destination for human trafficking.
Yep.
That needs to be changed as soon as we unfuck this political upside-down cake we have going on right now.
You ain't kidding.
I mean, it's just absolutely... When I couldn't even watch the entire movie, The Sound of Freedom. It really hit me hard. I watched clips of it.
Yeah, it's nothing that you watch for, what's that word, entertainment.
Yeah, I was literally ready to start whipping shit around the house. Motherfucker! I mean...
It's inducing. It's inducing.
I was literally like, I can't believe. And here's another thing. That movie sat in the can for half a decade.
Yep.
And Disney fought tooth and nail in court to keep it from being released.
Could that be because every single year going back, I don't know how long, Disney has had employees repeatedly arrested for, diddling and sniffing?
Why don't we just call it Groomerland?
Groomerland, yeah.
Well, how many kids go missing there every year in the park?
First of all, a lot of kids go missing all the time.
Is it weird that I caught this between my legs?
You might have to give yourself a point.
I may have to.
It's there's a lot of kids that go missing in that park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
listen, man, we are in the middle of spiritual warfare, and we can't hide it anymore. Like in the 80s, it was basically church ladies and pointing their finger at Dungeons and Dragons and heavy metal music.
Yeah, the satanic panic.
Yeah, in the 90s, it was the first-person shooter video games and other stuff. But now it's not even being hidden anymore. It's literally taking place, and our mainstream media is complacent, or dare I say, in on the conspiracy and not calling this shit out.
Maybe because they have a vested interest in it.
Could it? I mean, we've been saying this for years. All of our media is owned by 6 corporations. Yeah. What could go wrong?
I mean, not only is it now out in the open for anyone to see, they are expecting you to go along with it, champion it, and if you don't, then you're a transformer phobe.
You're istophobe idiot.
Istophobic
That covers everything.
Yeah.
That's why they like things like China's social credit system.
Yep. How dare you?
You hurt my feelings.
I don't know, man. And this
Your
is
cootie juices on my dishes.
But this is I mean, we're tracking this all the way back, to the dictator in chief. I would even say it goes back to the Obama years.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a reason why the kids in cages started under Obama. That's how he likes them.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, I mean, this whole thing it just stinks of evil. Now,
Yeah, it's more than just some like money and like
No.
bad, like corrupt,
Yeah.
like hide a couple things and
But-
bad contracts. It's a lot
we had
deeper.
the Pizzagate thing going on, and I looked into that. Some of it seems a little weird, but it really
Doesn't mean
is.
it didn't happen.
It is a symbol for, underage minors. Then you had the whole Nickelodeon crap going on.
Oh yeah.
Now we have Disneyland. Like, our entire media complex needs to be taken down,
Yep.
smashed to pieces, and basically spread out across the entire country. Because then and only then are we going to get people willing to do what they're paid to do, which is report on the news and tell us the facts, and then we form our own opinion. You don't box up an opinion with a bunch of gaslit bullshit, put it in a bowl, and expect everyone to happily eat that. Eat all of the dicks. I mean, come on!
Eat all the dicks.
Just saying.
Every single one.
Bet you can't eat just one. Once you plop, the fun don't stop.
It's my opinion that one of the main reasons the United States is the #1 recipient of human trafficking is because it's being supported, protected, and hidden from the highest ranks within this government.
Well, we know that for sure because we had to artificially inflate 37 misdemeanors, which nobody else in their right mind would have even been prosecuted as misdemeanors, up to felonies just for Trump.
Yep.
We had to say that a president wasn't allowed to have classified documents when he's clearly allowed to have classified documents.
And they brought those secret file things for a photo op.
Yes, all of that.
yeah.
And yet, not one person from Epstein's black book has been prosecuted. Not one.
Not one. Yeah.
That's all you need to know. That's how we know this goes up to the tippy top.
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, this is strictly my opinion. I think the whole Epstein thing was nothing but an op to get blackmail material over people who run the show.
And because these people could not quell their urge to fuck children for 5 minutes out of their ever-loving lives, they all rode right into the fucking trap.
That guy was probably one of many. He was probably a little bit more, I guess, like flamboyant.
Yeah.
And out there.
Out there.
I don't
It's
know.
amazing. Just amazing.
First of all, that whole thing was just reprehensible. And I would love to see those people get shamed in public and prosecuted if there's enough evidence. It's absolutely ludicrous that that's not happening. And I don't give a shit if one of the princes of England gets implicated. Fuck that guy.
No, fuck him. And fuck Biden, too, the fucking kid diddler. I mean, but when you look at this, and you know that we are the top destination, and one of the main reasons is the porous southern border, I wonder if Biden has a personal interest in keeping the border open for activities that he may still enjoy. Maybe they give him kid-flavored ice cream. I don't fucking know, but I mean...
Well, right now, at his age, with what's going on, I think he's going to have to settle for sniffing. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm sure he's got the super Viagra drugs, too, needle in the wiener. So what are the facts are frightening, as it says. On average, a child enters the U.S. X-trade at 12 to 14. Many are runaway girls who were abused as children. Thank you,
God,
single
that's
mothers.
just heartbreaking.
Most of the time, victims are trafficked by someone they know, such as a friend, a family member, or romantic partner. Again, thank you, single mothers. Predators can rent a child for a single act for an average of $90. Well, for Joe Biden, that's a bargain at any price. Often, that child is forced to have X 20 times per day, 6 days a week.
Well, at least they give him a day off. God.
I know,
This is
right?
horrible.
Fucking, like,
Or as your ex used to say, that's how she keeps holy the Sabbath.
Horizontal orientated entertainer.
Exactly. Trafficking usually occurs in hotels, motels, online websites, and truck stops in the U.S. Especially, you're going to see a ton of truck stops along the border, duty-free shops, all that. About 50,000 people, primarily from Mexico and the Philippines, are trafficked into the U.S. annually. It's because they have the nice booties. According to the Federal Human Trafficking Report, in 2018, over half, 51.6%, of the criminal human trafficking cases active in the U.S. were sex trafficking cases involving only children.
Yeah, that is just reprehensible.
And yet, people are all too eager to sign on to the children have sexual agency train. They don't believe that's what they're signing on to because they've been propagandized into believing that it's an identity issue. But that is the real issue at hand. They are trying to ascribe sexual agency to minors.
Correct.
And not the ones who dig holes. Well,
because as soon as they allow the minors to make these life-changing decisions to have things added or cut off, then it's just one step away to this.
Mm-hmm. It's
well, they've already
the parents too.
Yeah, thanks to Groomer Land, they've already figured out a way to try to call being a minor attracted person an orientation.
It's a total play out of Miles' book.
Yeah.
I mean, he did that with the whole gender thing with the kids, taking the little girls, shaving their heads and all that, making them all one. It's literally the same thing.
Yep. Bottom line, if just leftoids, again, we're going to follow this logic train all the way to the caboose, all right? If me voting for Trump intrinsically, just by default, makes me an istophobic, then you ascribing to gender theory makes you a kid diddler. Because that's where gender theory actually came from.
Yep.
Over half of the original paper of queer theory written by Foucault is in defense of boy love. It's not my rules, they're yours.
Yeah, look it up yourself and let us know what you think.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Do you think with this particular whistleblower thing coming out just days before the shot heard around the hood, do you think this might have had a little something to do with it?
Because look, if Trump gets in office and he decides to clean house, it's going to be a whole new game.
Yeah.
And the people who are pulling the strings today
are not going to be happy.
To be very miserable and unhappy when that when and if that happens.
Well, here's a when and if question for you. We know that with the way things are going, there aren't enough ballot printers to go burr. All right? That much is clear. If there were, they wouldn't have taken a shot at him.
Yep.
So we know that to be a certainty.
Good point.
Hopefully,
when and if will they try again?
Hopefully, yeah, I know. Hopefully, we have enough people at the ballot locations to show up in force and just passively, peacefully resist.
Yes. Keep an eye on things.
If you're sitting in there monitoring what's going on and they try to usher you out, sit your ass on the floor. Do not participate in your own ejection from the room.
well, now that the Trumps have essentially taken over the RNC, one of their main things is going to be more poll watchers.
Good.
So, just free note for the RNC, okay? If you actually have a spine to share between all of you, okay? You instruct these poll watchers to not leave ever until the election for their district is actually called.
I would love to have all of them have a body camera on as well.
Yeah. Body cameras are essential.
That's a good idea.
No closing doors, no boarding up windows, again, because, that's what you need in a totally transparent and safe and election.
Like down in that one city over there?
Yeah. Or, right here.
Dumping that's what I mean. Down here in Detroit, at 3 a.m., just dumping everything and closing the windows.
Oh, yeah.
In.
Totally above board, yeah.
Totally legit.
Every election,
Totally legit.
Every single election takes a week to count, right?
Yeah, get the hell out of here.
Yeah, even though that's never happened until 2020, but that's the
God,
one we're
Instagram
supposed to
polls are
trust.
instantaneous. Shut the hell up.
Fuck's sakes.
All right. Yeah, so I don't know, man. This is just getting stupid.
Yeah. Chomo Joe's got to go, I'm just saying. And I mean, when you look at that poor young woman's face, I mean,
Look at that.
that's Chomo Joe.
I would love to
Well,
have
if he
her as-
drops out, who do you think's going to replace him, and how hard would he be to like?
The thing is, the only person who could actually replace him, according to the rules we currently have in place, is Kamala.
Yeah. And that she's even hated more.
She's even worse.
So she would pick a running mate, and then maybe.
I don't know. I would like to get that young girl on the show. I think that would be comedy gold for her
That
to give
would
her
be.
perspective on this whole
I felt his dick on my leg.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It smells like goat cheese and shame.
It wasn't even hard. It felt like a pigeon having a heart attack. It's like the CIA super boner drugs just weren't kicking in.
I don't know, man. This
He could smell the adrenochrome on her. That's what it is.
Now, that's another thing. I keep hearing about these adrenochrome things.
Yeah.
Now, I listen. They're doing surgical procedures to take a enzyme out of people's brains. There'd be a lot more evidence laying around if that was really taking place, in my opinion.
I don't know, man.
I think that they're bringing these people over for their primary purpose of the internal snot massages.
That's very possible. But remember, like, the truly nefarious shit may not be happening here.
Listen,
These companies love to outsource all the dirty work, figuratively and literally.
I can't argue with you on that. But my thing is this. It's absolutely terrifying that the forces of darkness have grown to this monumental level of influence. It's scaring the absolute crap out of me.
Or even scarier, maybe it's always been like this, and they've just now gotten to the point where they believe their dominion is so assured they don't care to hide it anymore.
Yeah, that's actually
I think that's
valid.
Yeah, because it's so blatant.
They're emboldened.
It's
Yeah.
blatant.
Yeah.
It's taunting now.
It is. They're just like they're poking the bear, and maybe that's why they like to choose it. I don't. And then what was it like? Not even a month after that meme hit, some chick literally got stalked and trailed back home and murdered in her own fucking yard by a bear.
Yeah.
It's like we tried to tell you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, men on average, they're like, well, yeah, on average, you see hundreds of men a day, maybe thousands, depending on what you do. I mean, if you got a hole in the screen door in the back, could be more.
Things happen.
But how many times do you run into a bear? Almost never.
In my entire life, I've come across, I think, 3 or 4 bears.
Yeah. And how many of you who have seen a bear saw it in a zoo and not in the wild?
No, these were in the wild. The bears usually run away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, hey, hey! And they're like, oh, fuck. And they run.
I just wanted a honeypot.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, that's why he took Ashley in the shower, too. People in hell want ice water.
Yeah, my buddy up north has a black bear that comes on his property 2 or 3 times a summer.
Why got to be a black bear?
Because that's what the color it is.
That's racist!
But he thinks that the bear does this track a couple times during the spring, summer, and part of the fall, and then it goes back into its den.
Little territoriality
It's like
thing.
clockwork. Every 60 to 70 some odd days, he sees the bar.
The bar.
Yeah, tearing
Probably
up the
smart
trash.
bear.
I choose the bar.
Bar.
Smart bear.
The bear, the bar.
The bar.
The bar. Well, I mean, just one last thing that we can bring up here, and then we can read some super chats here. I'm sure there may be some apologists. We have some people who hate sub to our channel to try to to leave shit comments and stuff. It's called Save the Children. Do I have to spell it out for you?
Well,
These are the same people.
Votes.
Huh?
Two
Of
down
course.
votes on Rumble.
These are the same people who refer you to the dictionary when they can't define what feminism or misogyny is. All right, just so we're clear.
Correct.
But like I said, Patriot Act, Affordable Care Act. We love to name things for bullshit. Even people who may have a good idea in mind will still be tempted to take it wrongly. And here it is. Ex-police officer said he saved children from human traffickers, was actually faking the stories to raise cash for his charity. Basically, if there's money involved, even good ideas can get corrupted.
Correct. You're
There
absolutely
you
correct.
go.
Yeah, money is a very tricky thing to handle.
Yep. At least he's not sniffing kids, and if he did, I'd be afraid he'd actually inhale one with that honker. That is a broad nose, perfect for smelling trouble, prison food, and snorting cocaine.
So this guy's from the BBC. Is
Oh no,
he
it's just
English?
just the story. No, This is Adam Whittington. He is a ex-police officer.
In the United States?
Yeah,
Or-
behind the Project Rescue Children, I believe, in the United States. Yes.
Jesus Christ, that's disgusting.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a metropolitan. Oh, no, he is a British Australian citizen. He left the Metro Police, Whittington, a police British Australian citizen, initially focused on retrieving kids taken by a parent in custody disputes. I must be crossing this up with another article I read. Then he found calling and rescuing trafficked or abused children noble, except it's all smoke and mirrors. Oops. So his social media accounts are loaded with content that has amassed 1.5 million followers. What did he say? She flew to Uganda, met with some children, raised a whopping 137,000 pounds for a rescue center, but soon after, allegations started to fly with former ambassadors and directors pushing the panic button over alleged financial mismanagement and fictional stories. Sounds like another charity here in the U.S. I forget. BLM?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You know, that they haven't put one black kid through college. They didn't pay for the hospital bills of any of the black kids who were killed in the riots during the Summer of Love or who were injured, nothing like that. They didn't give anything to the families whose, people were murdered by these, white trust fund liberal
They all bought
jackasses.
houses.
I think the founders.
But they bought 4 houses
Yeah.
for one of their own people, right?
Now, here's the thing I want to put out there. There is a group out there of retired pipe hitters. And not the good ones, the ones that show up in, wreck shit.
A couple of
Kinda-
hard pipe-hitting African-American gentlemen.
They're kind of like dudes like me who actually go out there and try to retrieve some of these kids.
African-American gentlemen.
Listen, if the law enforcement is not going to put a stop to this, there's going to have to be a point where the people say, you know what? You're not doing your job. We're going to have to do it for you.
There you go.
Because this is so reprehensible.
Yep.
I mean, holy shit.
And you have to wonder, these people who are trying to save the children by setting up these rescue centers, and then you look at this, and there's no children in sight at these rescue centers, then where are they? Joe Biden's shower?
Oh, my God.
Makes sense to me. You want to read some chats, some
Yeah.
chates?
Well, first of all, hang on.
What?
I'm going to say this one more time.
He's going to say it one more time.
We have to open our eyes and call this shit out on social media every time you see or hear about it, because the mainstream media is not doing their goddamn job.
Yeah.
I mean, why do you think it is I went from being just a MGTOW red pill creator guy to talking about stuff like this? Because I got sick and tired of sitting there going, well, where's this on the news? What's going on? And then I'm like, oh, elevator music. I'll have to do it myself.
The insanity doesn't come from just one direction.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
But what I'm trying to say is,
It's like an insanity gangbang. It's just like cocks of insanity flying at for all their more cotton. I just did it, didn't I?
but if normal people who saw this shit called it out on the regular, they would have to go. They'd have to hide it at a certain point.
Yeah, and when you can't hide it, what do? You call it a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, and that is. Listen, I think the mileage on that is worn out.
Yeah, it's just like calling somebody a racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe, xenophobe, transphobe. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, because a phobia implies a fear. I am accurately assessing that you're mentally ill. That's not a fear.
And here's the
If anything, you're a truth phobe. Suck it and
Infowars.
swallow.
Infowars was right.
Yes.
About 85% of the stuff they talked about actually came to pass.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good track record.
I mean, I walked. I seriously, I had a fucking this woman wanted to knock down, beat down, fight me because I was dumb and I accidentally walked into a wedding wearing a 9/11 was an inside job bracelet on my fucking wrist, and she's like, "Well, I lived in New York and I can tell you," I'm like, "Oh, and I've been to the zoo. That makes me an expert on bears." What the fuck does living in New York have to do with you being an American or accurately assessing a terrorist plot?
Don't get me started on 9/11, man. There's so many holes in
It's
that.
like puking on a pile of shit when you talk to these people.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Pop for Supporter Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.